habitat from each of our developments, however many we're able to do. And in return, they're going to become helping our residents take the steps to become homeowners. We believe that our housing needs to take, our residents, we want to give as many opportunities for our residents to take the next step in homeownership.
And I do want to add one thing on that. Ethan Calhoun from the Northwest Regional Commission did a traffic study as a part of that, and he didn't see any problems. So, and he is an expert in what he does. Very good.
What will be the total then on this piece of property? Because
So what I'm asking for now is 84 units, and that would be it.
well, the total when if you get it all the phases.
It depends on what we would able to, I would ask for 72, so it'd be a total of 156. But like I said, that would be a negotiation with the city, with my neighbors, you know, to make sure that, one, that we are not only have done a responsible development in the community, but also that whatever we're asking for would be an acceptable use of land within our community.
Do your neighbors support you?
They will get an opportunity right now to speak. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see in a minute.
Mr. Weeks does, I know that. So the gentleman's director to the south of us.
Will your development, I know this is in the future, but will your development match the architecture of Blue Ridge?
Yes, it will. That's actually why we have such a great design team with Cindy Treble. She's going to be helping dictate the actual facades of our building. There'll be no stucco. I guarantee you no stucco. Promise you that. There'll be no 5-story buildings in the CBD. Guarantee you that as well. We'll have about 40% brick on the building facades. The balance is going to be stacked. We want to use accents with some timber accents. We want to use. Cindy's a lot better at this. I'm pretty good at just her saying how much money do you need, and I will find it. But our intention is to make this a Blue Ridge development in every sense of the word. That when people drive by, they'll think that it's been here not for 100 years, but it looks like it is a Blue Ridge development, not a corporate development.
Do you want to hold that up?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to start squeaking again. I feel horrible. So, this is what I had last year. These are photographs of actual developments that we have done here in Georgia. This top one is in Gainesville. This is in Mableton. This is Mableton, and this is actually in downtown Atlanta. But this is the caliber of construction that we've actually currently designed.
We'll set that up front so the audience can see it.
Oh, sure. Okay. And then this is what Cindy has kind of given as a storyboard design ideas. We want to pull some of the architectural renderings, color schemes from these type of developments.
How many stories is this going to be?
3 stories.
Yeah, I'm noticing, sorry.
Cindy designed these developments. John Staub actually built some of these developments. Some of these photographs are from Blue Ridge. So, like that, but that's the idea of what we want to accomplish here.
Of course, those pictures are in here, right? They were in the agenda, right?
I'd emailed the council these as well.
That's okay. I know they're in here somewhere.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Any further questions?
I have one more question. Since this really has 50% of its occupants coming from the public housing, and we hear from the public housing director that there are no plans, do they have the option of doing nothing? Because you said they could do what they see fit. Is there any chance those public housing buildings will sit there empty for 3 years and do nothing but except track rats?
I don't believe there.
Is there any guarantee that the city council has that there will be, I'm not putting you, I'm putting that to him. Is there any guarantee the city council, if they approve this, will not have 48 housing units sitting vacant for 2 years attracting rats?
I promise you that.
I said,
I promise you that.
Okay.
That I will recommend that to the council.
I'm just asking because is a very, that's the first I really realized how many, that's why I asked the question about how many units. You're talking about virtually all of a great deal of the public housing, and I play golf at the Marietta City Club, and that housing project next to Marietta City Club sat empty for 48 or 60 months.
So
That's
actually
Marietta
not-
Housing Authority.
I'm sorry, but that's actually not a housing authority development. Dave Berkman, who passed away a couple of years ago, I know because it's an old
Yeah.
real estate name. Dave Berkman owned that development. It was never owned by the housing
I'm
authority.
just saying it's
It was
that
owned by
big.
private, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was owned by a private citizen,
Okay.
not by a housing authority that has a mandate to provide affordable housing in the community they serve. That
Okay,
has a
now,
very-
so,
yeah.
can you tell us a little more about the mandate? What's the
Your mandate? What does your board tell you to do?
mandate?
What mandate?
Your board, what do you guys, does your board tell you that you have to do affordable housing?
HUD tells me I have to do affordable housing. I want to do affordable housing. The board wants to do affordable housing. The city wants to do affordable housing. Our goal is for affordable housing.
That's good, that's good.
And the residents don't have to move out if they don't want to,
No.
Trevor, is that correct?
No,
They
sir.
can stay if they'd like to.
Yes, things
So
still
it's their
have to.
choice.
Yes, things are still in discussion and progression as this develops. Nothing is set in stone right now.
But when Eric and I met with Traver, the plan would not be for them to sit vacant. We have too
Absolutely
much
not.
of a housing need in this community right now, and that was one of the things we really want to emphasize, that those would hopefully be renovated. They're about 50 years old. So hopefully somehow they get renovated a bit and can be used for that workforce housing. That's the goal, to try to add more and more affordable.
I also recommend if anybody has any questions or concerns about that, please reach out, contact me, call me, come by my office. I'd love to talk to you.
Trevor, how long's your waiting list?
Oh, I mean, it varies from day to day, but right now, we've got the 1 and 2 bedrooms closed. We just opened it in
How
December.
many are on the waiting list though? 200?
A little less than that, probably.
Mhm.
So the idea of it being vacant, I mean, there's a waiting list, so that's,
Yeah, hopefully that would never be the case. Well,
But we
you know,
kept saying renovate, so it's possible they'll move out, come into your building and not be renovated, and be filled.
it's the choice of the housing
If that's
authority
what they
that,
choose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Okay,
decision of the
because
housing authority that I'm going.
it's been hung out there that it'll be renovated, 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 but the truth of the matter is, if they are not obligated to move into your development, then that unit can't be renovated because they're living in it.
Not necessarily, sir.
Yeah.
So, the housing authority can move within the development, they can actually move the residents around. It'd actually be considered a, in-place renovation, so they could renovate apartment A, move somebody who's living in apartment B into apartment A, and then renovate apartment B.
It's a relocation
yeah.
plan.
Okay, I'm sure that we
That's all it
will,
is.
sure that this,
yeah.
we were talking about this project of yours, but it suddenly has brought along another 48 units that we have to be considered.
But I think we have to also remember this is a rezoning for this particular project, so we shouldn't digress too much off onto what the housing authority is doing. So I think we need to probably move on and let opposition, unless anyone else has a question regarding Mr. Searles' development. Is anyone? Okay. Okay, we're going to start your part in just a minute. Okay, so thank you so much. We will now offer 10 minutes, and if we have additional questions from the audience, do you have?
Do you allow any of the public to speak in?
Yes, yes, yes,
May I do that now?
yes. If you're speaking in
Favor?
favor, we've not made it to the opposition yet, so.
You're safe because I don't have notes, but I sat through this last May.
Hey, repeat, give your name.
My name is Donna Thompson, I live here in Blue Ridge. I sat through this last May, and I know other people that would have been here tonight if they could have. I listened to the questions, and I'm really glad that you're asking good questions. But when we have high-scale, upscale, expensive units that are going to be built other places of the city, I expect each one of you council members to be asking the exact same questions to those developers. Because some of the questions that you ask, because this is affordable or workforce or not $500,000 per unit, some of the questions to me are somewhat challenging to listen to. So I will hold you accountable to this. I come to all your meetings and I will hold you accountable. But this is a good thing. I think it's got the recommendation, it's got people donating their time. And we have a lot of people that need help in this city. Not everybody can afford $1 million mansions, so let's keep that in our focus. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else want to speak in favor? Ron, please give your name.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I'm Ryan Higgins. It's actually more of a comment. I am part of the planning and zoning, and I just want to clarify something that Philip had said, which is that Cindy Trimble and Greg Arnold are helping on the process, and of course, they're both on planning and zoning. But I want to make sure that the council, the mayor knows, and the public knows that they both recuse themselves from that vote. So I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Are you opposed?
No, I know.
Okay, come on up, yes. Yep, you can both, and just come on up, and we will allow this extra time that we're giving for the, those in favor, just also will offer that extra time to anybody opposed.
My name is Greg Arnold, and I reside at 1167 East Main Street, and I am on the planning commission, and yes, I did abstain voting because I offer my services from a design standpoint, and mainly because, you know, I see this property from my front door, and I hear more than anything in Blue Ridge, I hear about workforce housing, the shortage of workforce housing, and that's the #1 concern. So you know, I really admire Cindy for stepping up to do it, so I thought I can do that too. So that's my pro bono project this year, is I'm going to try to help keep this Blue Ridge. And, you know, I think basically it's, you know, keeping the vernacular of the mountain architecture. And so I'm in support of the project. I think we need it, I think it's time, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better property to do a project like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg,
Yes, sir.
what is your input? You said you had done your time pro bono. What are you doing in this property?
Well, I've offered my services as a landscape architect.
What's your landscape?
You know, Cindy, you know, if you look at these boards, she's suggested, you know, architectural styles that are inherent to the mountain community. So my approach would be very similar. I think the buildings, you know, they're 3 stories. You know, the back sides are, I mean, they're not going to they're not going to be above the tree line. So there's really 0 visual impact, in my opinion, from the back side. So it'll be, you know, trying, as Christy mentioned, a selective screening, of course, safety, things like that. Just trying to make sure that material that's selected is appropriate to this area. So that's really my offering. So
Thank you, Greg.
Okay?
So Karen Stevens, and I'm a neighbor. So my question, I guess I heard the larger number in my, these are all questions, I'm not for or against it or anything, I understand. I'm just for personal understanding and being a neighbor and for public understanding and for the record. So the phase 1 is approximately what time frame?
We would break ground, if selected, we would break ground June, July of 2023 and be opening around September, October of 2024. Phase 2, if we are able to get a zoning change in the zoning.
What would that
ordinance in
change
the
that
future.
zoning to?
So they'd have to actually create a new zoning class. So if the council decides not to, then there will be no phase 2.
Gotcha.
If they do, and we're able to turn it in next year, then it would be breaking ground in June of 2024, and then opening in October, November 2025.
So they average about 24 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. And then in the event of that it gets the total capacity, you said is about 156 or 57?
156.
56 units. So that would be approximately, if I'm calculating, like 17 units per acre?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. But that's under a new zoning class, and right now it would be about
Right now, it's
10
under the 10 an acre. Yes, ma'am.
10 per acre.
Yes, ma'am.
10 units per acre. Got it. That was my question, and the timeline was my question. I don't see any opposing factors as a neighbor as far as the use or how it affects the, you know, us in an adverse way, because I had already attended the other meeting, and then Mr. Searles did reach out to me to go over like the elevation of how it would fit in the, like, you know, what my house looks like or the next in the area.
I also want to let you know that I did have conversations with the card tag company.
On safety.
On safety. So it's only $2,400 a year per camera, so we'll have 2 cameras, one at each entrance within our community. I've actually tried, and I was hoping a police officer would be here tonight No, firemen. So it is no charge to the Blue Ridge Police Department. The company that we're gonna be using has about 2,000 cameras in Georgia. Most of them are in the North Georgia area. For no charge, they can actually be tied into all that entire camera system. So I just want to tell the police department, hey, we're gonna have this. There's no charge to you. You already have a tag reader. We would love to have you guys be taking, be part of the
Yeah, because
NCIS.
I asked about the safety.
Correct.
So close to the high school and me having a minor in the household.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was the question with that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that was what, mine isn't a for or a not or against or anything like that. I needed to know that information based on timelines, based on construction down there, noise level, all of it.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, Karen.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Okay, at this time, we will open up 10 minutes plus extra time for whomever wants to speak in opposition. If you are opposed, come on up to the mic and speak. Tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Angela Smith. I'm actually with Wham Development, the condos. And Patrick, it is 4 stories, not 5, just so you know. And what I want everybody in this room to understand, I do this for a living. I'm the president of the largest management company in Georgia, multifamily. And do you guys know that $29,000 a year for a 1-bedroom equates to $14.24 an hour? People are paying more than that at Bojangles. People are paying more than that at Popeyes. How are you going to get people here to do that? And I think you said, if I'm not mistaken, $34,000 for a 2-person household. Guess what? That's not much more, 18 or 19 an hour. I can do the calculation. So you tell me where you're going to have a full-time person that's going to be able to live in these apartments and afford it. I'm sure you're doing probably 40% AMI? 60% AMI. So who's going to be able to afford these? Yes, the housing people, they will. And you can bring in more housing people, you can bring in more Section 8, you can bring all that in. But you're not going to get the workforce housing, and I really appreciate your comments very, very much, Christy. Where are you going to get the workforce housing, a single person that works a full-time job that will qualify to live there? No one. And his restricted units, I believe you said 8 or 9. So only 8 or 9 units can go to true workforce housing. A couple that he's working at Home Depot, she's working wherever as a housekeeper for one of the cabin rental companies, they can't afford to live there.
I got a question. Are you saying they can't afford because
Okay.
they don't make enough?
Actually, no, we will have no comments from the audience at this time. If you have a question, you have to wait, so.
Because they make too much.
Okay.
And you
that's
need
my
to
question.
direct your questions up here, so. Okay,
That's all.
okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for her? Okay, you may be seated.
I just didn't understand if it was too much money or too little.
I apologize, I stated it wrong.
It's okay.
Okay. Do we have anyone else opposed? Okay, this time we will close that portion of the meeting. And what we'll do, I'm going to call for a motion and then we can discuss after our second, so, okay? So I'm going to call for a motion to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation of May 3rd, 2022 to approve the Searles Foundation Affordable Housing Land Fund LLC to rezone attractive land from C2 General Commercial to High Density R3. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Weather? Okay, at this time, is there any discussion amongst the council?
I have a question.
Okay.
Kind of like what, so, you know that I'd asked lots of questions before, and I've asked lots of questions now. And then,
And this will be a discussion amongst us,
Right.
not towards Mr. Searles. That part of the
yeah,
hearing is closed. Okay.
so with what she just said about, can one of y'all explain it to me? So if the people that are able to get it, they'll have to make around $30,000 a year? Or is it gonna be, they have to make less than that?
That would have been a question to ask Mr. Searles, and
It was given to us, let's
Yeah.
have it again. Can we, he gave the numbers.
can you give that number?
Yes, I can.
I got it. 29,934.
29,9 and 34,2, and I would like to also discuss, since we have opened back up for the applicant to speak, we have a market study. I can understand Wham Development have very strong feelings. We own over 1,000 units in Georgia. We've done this all over the place. We have a
So
market.
just answer the question,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it's according to our market study,
Mhm.
the people who would qualify for this program in Fannin County excess over 800 people.
Okay.
So,
That's your market study.
yes, sir.
800 people would have access to it,
Over 800 people for the one bedrooms.
to the one bedroom.
Yes, sir. It's larger for the twos. It's like around 1,200 for the twos.
That would have access to it.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about 2,000 people.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, any discussion amongst the council? So if you have discussion, we can discuss. Okay, we've had a motion, we've had a second, we're gonna have a roll call vote, and we will begin with Dr. Whaley. Yes, Angie Art? Yes.
Yes.
Jack? Yes.
Yes.
And Bill Bivens? Okay, he said yes, motion passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to the zoning map, again, I'm gonna let Mr. Connerly discuss that with the zoning map.
And similarly as before, the rezoning will be accompanied by a zoning map amendment, and included for first reading is an ordinance to provide for amendment to the zoning map, and it will come before you at the next meeting for approval.
Okay. So this was a first reading, we will vote on that the next meeting. Okay, item F is an ordinance to amend the Charter 10 business regulations and occupational tax, and basically this is just setting out new guidelines. I am going to let Mr. Connerly go over this with us as well.
Yeah, this is kind of another housekeeping ordinance, but this is ordinance BR 202218. It relates to occupation taxes. Under the current ordinance, it is the city clerk's responsibility to administer the ordinance. Moving forward, we wanted to provide a little more flexibility, and so the way the ordinance now reads, it falls on the city administrator or the city administrator's designee, essentially to perform the functions as they relate to occupation taxes. Then there were a couple of other changes to the ordinance, but they related to establishing some time periods if you don't pay your taxes, when you might be cited for that, and also if you don't pay your occupational tax, when you might be denied water and sewer service. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but like I said, more or less just another housekeeping ordinance.
So this was a first reading. Any discussion? Okay. All right, so any questions from the audience on that, since this is public hearing on our occupational tax? Okay, no comments? Okay. So we will close out the public hearing portion of the meeting, and we're going to move on to our consent agenda. Have you all had an opportunity to look at the items A through C? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
You do, second.
Second. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote on this. Dr. Whaley? Angie?
Yes.
Jack? Christie? And Bill? Bill said yes if you didn't hear. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, moving down to an action item. This one just requires the approval of the city council, and what we're going to do, you've all had a chance over the past few weeks to review the revitalization plan. And I would just like to have a motion to accept the Community Revitalization Plan document.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second? Any discussion?
Yes, I have
Yep.
about 4 of these plans in my files that go back 12, 15 years, and I think Jack is, I know more than that, 20 years, I think, and I certainly hope that this becomes more of a blueprint for action rather than a paperweight.
Okay, I agree. Any other discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote on this.
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack? Christie?
Yes.
And Bill? Yeah. Okay, motion passes 5-0. Okay, section 8, discussion items, and there's nothing there, so moving on to 9, which will be our reports. Our first is a proclamation, and let me get over to that. So, this is May 1st through the 7th is actually the week that has been proclaimed as Professional Municipal Clerks Week. So we want to thank Amy Mintz, she's our city clerk, and so I signed a proclamation stating that this is, says now, therefore I, Rhonda Haight, Mayor of the City of Blue Ridge, do recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th, which has already passed, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Amy Mintz, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the commitment they represent. So thank you, Amy. We appreciate everything you do for us. Moving down to B, the Downtown Development Authority update. Is there anyone here to give that? Do you want to give us an update?
I don't know any. I don't think they go to them. Yeah, we did, I mean, we met with them, you know, jointly, whenever some things, but, there's not really anything to tell right now.
Yeah, okay. So not much of an update now, but we did come to some good, I think we're all working on the right path to get with our DDA, and we're all going to come together and make some good things happen for Blue Ridge. C, Business Association update. Caesar?
Hi, I'm Cesar Martinez, and I'm the president of the Business Association. Just a few updates for you today. The second annual Merry Little Christmas Party to benefit Light Up Blue Ridge will happen at the Farmers Market on October 1st. So just want to make sure everybody knows that planning is coming along pretty well. I hope some of you at least got to do it last year.
Yes, it was fun.
That was good. Also, July 4th parade, the Old Timers Parade. I know I've said this before, but I want to keep saying it because people seem to forget that we say it. And that is, it will be on July 4th, which is a Monday, and the parade will start at 10 o'clock. Okay. The last point I have is we've got some matching funds from the chamber to print some, you know the banners we put on the light posts? We are going to, we'd like to be able to do banners that aren't attached to an event, that just say welcome to Blue Ridge. So the Business Association in conjunction with the chamber are going to do that. Okay, so we'll have something up there all the time. If it's not an event, then we welcome it.
Does that have to come before the council, or do you approve that? Or they
So
just-
that is
they own the
actually-
sign? They own the.
Yeah, so we own the signs, and I think Eric and I had just talked about that, having something up year-round instead of leaving them empty, because they do look kind of odd. So yeah, we're actually, I don't know if you had the chance to talk to him, but, so that's great. Yeah, we were just literally talking
Well,
about
you
that.
had the
Yeah.
different organizations make those flags, like we did it,
Yes.
we do it for Safe Zone and Light Up Blue Ridge, and
Like Arts in the Parks have
Arts
that
in the
now.
Park does theirs, Blues Festival does theirs, so they've always done one, but there's more time that there isn't anything than there is.
I agree, and they look really odd empty, so. And that's part of a beautification that will help it look better.
So we're gonna take that up.
Yeah, good.
The city of Ducktown just put some up, it looks
Oh,
really nice
good.
for Ducktown.
There is
Very
one other
nice.
thing that we got some matching funds from the Chamber of Commerce, and that is to start looking towards putting a electronic billboard, if you will, for events for downtown, that we can put in downtown. Kind of like something, you know how we have that tripod that sits we thought it would be great to be able to have something that's downtown, that we can just type in, have a nice day. You know, Arts Festival coming up, Memorial Day weekend, those kind of things. So that's something that we want to work with the city on. I don't know if we want you to work with it, but that is something that the chamber came back to us and said, we're willing to give you these dollars if we match them,
Okay,
which we will as a,
Right. Okay, yeah, just get with me and we'll, okay, that's good. Anything else? Okay, great. Okay, do we have any public comments at this time? And if you do, please come up and just state your name. Okay, no public comments. We do need to go into executive session, so do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Everyone raise your hand in favor. Okay, all right. And Bill? Okay, yes. So motion passes 5-0. We will be in executive session.
Yeah, I had to.